Alright guys, what's going on? The Arid Lord is back with another Walking Dead vlog for you all. And in this one, we're going to be doing another edition in my What If series. The What If series is where we take a scenario in The Walking Dead, pit it against itself, go back in time, rewrite history, and discuss how the series would have been different with a variety of characters, locations, and circumstances if those particular things were changed in the show. We're going to focus on the show, no comic stuff, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a group versus another group, because in the first episode, we did the Saviors versus the Whisperers. Now, those are two of the two most recent villainary groups that the main cast of survivors that we're following have faced as main villain adversaries. So we had that first episode pitting them against each other. And I actually, in my most recent video, I put up a question towards the end and in the description saying, what would you like the next one to be? I wanted to ask my fans what they wanted. And the next vote was actually, what would happen if the Wolves and the Whisperers were to come into contact and fight? Like, would they fight? What would happen? Who would win? And what circumstances would arise from that? Now, I'll post up at the end of the video for more suggestions from you guys so I can do something for episode 3. I actually have some of my own ideas I'm thinking of, so potentially episode 3 might be something that I'm thinking of. I had some cool ideas for maybe just scenarios, like what if someone didn't reach this destination, or I'll get to it when I get to it. But for now, let's go into the topic that you guys voted for, that a few of my fans voted for. So this one's kind of a tough one because I'm not even going to say that the Wolves would really even fight the Whisperers, because these are two groups that are very, very, very similar. I hope you guys still remember who the Wolves are, because it seems like an eternity ago since they were actually in the show as an adversary. Now, if you don't remember, the Wolves were a group of individuals who were just scavengers. They were scavengers, plunderers, thieves. They had really they were just a group of survivors that stole and killed anyone they found. And they had this very, very weird philosophy where they would kill somebody, decapitate the person, and then write a W into the forehead of the person with a knife, and then take their blood and write a W on their own forehead. Now, it was a very, very bizarre group. Very bizarre. And we saw many previews to this group starting in the mid-season premiere of Season 9. When the group first gets to Virginia, they're going to Noah's home, which is Shire Will Estates. And this is Noah's home, where he lives. Spoilers, if you recall, this is also Tyrese's last episode, where Noah's brother gets a chunk out of his arm, and then Tyrese has all those hallucinations. It's a very, very bizarre episode. So you could say, in some weird way, the Wolves kind of were the reason that Tyrese died, because they killed everybody in that village and turned Noah's brother into a zombie. So that's very unfortunate. But They marked their territory. They were very territorial, very similar to the Whisperers, where the Whisperers have their camps, they have their head pike things. They're very much about like territory, especially when Jesus went to slash that one Whisperer, he said, "You are where you do not belong." The Whisperers are very territorial. The Wolves are also very territorial. The Wolves Not Far, if you guys remember, in the white chalk, they would write Wolves Not Far. They also, something very unique to the Wolves that I don't think the Whisperers do, is they set traps. So if you guys recall the famous trap in the season 5 finale when Daryl and Aaron are trying to find food in those food trucks, and it's actually a zombie trap, and a whole bunch of zombies just come out of this warehouse. They get into a car in order to wait it out, but they find a note that says that bad people are coming. So hypothetically, the wolves reset the trap, and then they kill whoever's in the car, and they don't kill them. They let them die, so then they are reanimated and they turn into a walker. We saw this with the poncho guy, the one that Daryl and Aaron were thinking of bringing into the community, but they were too late. The wolves got to them, those two wolves, the first wolves that Morgan encounters on the road, and then they stabbed him, and then he's a zombie by the very end of the episode. So the only problem with the wolves in terms of going up against another group, and we saw this, and even the alpha wolf, which I guess his name is Owen. This was never said in the show ever, but if you go to the Wikipedia for The Walking Dead, it says that the lead, the alpha wolf, the one that Morgan ties up and saves, the very last wolf, the one who dies in the mid-season premiere of season 9, his name is Owen, apparently. This was never revealed in any way. He was never given a name, but apparently his name is Owen. So Owen, being the leader of the wolves, said to Denise in the episode he dies in, when they're waiting out the walkers, Denise says that you are selfish, that's why your friends are dead. And then Owen says, yeah, we should have waited and watched a little longer. I knew we were kind of jumping the gun. And the wolves there's no thinking, there's no tactics, there's no nothing. They were just hungry, needy savages. Owen, obviously, he got cut on the rusty bumper, as his words. So he was infected and needed some sort of IV to bring down the swelling and the infection. So, I mean, these are desperate people in the apocalypse, in need of supplies. They don't have any type of community or care. They're just people who are all just, they need stuff. And they're not resourceful enough to get it. They're not like Rick's group, where Daryl is a natural hunter who can hunt for animals and is a tracker. He's very good out in the woods on his own, so he's able to survive by himself without the need of technology in society, whereas the wolves were very reliant on the past. Owen himself talks about the movies and missing the movies. That first conversation he has with Morgan, he mentions how he misses the movies, and so obviously a guy probably attached to cinema, entertainment, those kind of things, so it's understandable. So, as I was saying, the wolves didn't really go into situations thinking things through. They didn't scope out their opponent. They didn't look at them from afar. Because if you think about when they confronted Morgan, when they confronted Alexandria, these were two situations where they just ran in headstrong and saw an opportunity and tried to seize it. And they could not take over Alexandria, even with the limited number of people, because as you remember, Rick's group was out trying to divert the Walker horde. Even with the limited people that were away from Alexandria, all it took was Carol disguising themselves, and she did the exact thing that the wolves didn't. She disguised herself as a wolf and took them all out, and they were none wiser. And the only reason they got any type of upper hand was because Morgan let the Owen's sidekick there live. He stole a gun and then nearly killed Rick, and then Rick had to deal with them when they ran into him in the RV. So it's the wolves, I think, would absolutely lose in a fight against the Whisperers. All right, I don't have to go too far into that for you guys. I kind of just listed all of the drawbacks of the wolves and just what a liability they are to themselves. And they only lasted an episode. Like, the only time we saw them in a large group, they were defeated in the same episode. and it was annoying because we spent so much time building up to them. There was half of season 5 where there was the insignia on the forehead, the W. What does the W mean? The wolves. Wolves not far. Who are the wolves? For half of season 5, it was this huge mystery, and then in the final shot of season 5 was wolves not far was on the car. You go into season 6 thinking, oh man, like there's this group that has the pictures of Alexandria, here they come. And then they're basically defeated in one episode. They invade Alexandria, all of them die, except the ones that Morgan lets go away. And then there's Owen, who Morgan knocks out and holds captive in the basement of Alexandria. And then an episode later, the wolves that escape bump into Rick. Rick kills them, and then Owen's the only wolf left. And he is really a catalyst for Morgan's story. Because Morgan's philosophy, the philosophy he used to have of all life is precious. Owen was the first person to really prove Morgan's philosophy correct from his own standings. Obviously, Eastman had it first, and turning Morgan around was proof for him. But what was Morgan's proof? Owen was Morgan's proof, because Owen sacrificed himself for Denise, and then Denise saved Carl's life. She was in the right spot at the right time and was able to perform the surgery to save his life. Temporarily, of course, because he ended up dying 2 seasons later, but that's neither here nor there. But so the wolves really were just a function. They were just they were just a plot device to reinforce Morgan's philosophy and also theoretically save Carl's life. So very weird for a group that was built up for half a season, and you had to wait a full year from season to season, 5 to 6, to figure out like what this group was doing. But I don't think, from everything we've seen with the Whisperers, like they're way better organized. Alpha is a fearless leader. Anyone who opposes her she's gonna cut their head off with piano wire, and there's absolutely no way. However, I do think that the Wolves might have joined the Whisperers. I think if the Whisperers are a type of scavengers, basically they're like the Wolves 2.0. The Whisperers are really like what the Wolves probably would have been had they kept going on, because eventually you're going to run out of resources, scavenging, killing groups, setting traps. There's just not enough people to do that for years upon years. So turning to this way of savagery, blending in with the walkers, the way they skin animals and do this very raw style approach, they would have to become them. I think that if they came across the Whisperers, they would obviously be tricked, first of all, because the Whisperers are hiding amongst the walkers. But I think if they ever came and had a conversation with Alpha or Beta or any of the Whisperers, they would probably see an opportunity to probably join them. I know that they've never shown, the Wolves never showed a side of them that they would want to join a community or listen to advice in any sort, other than Owen having a change of heart. But we've never seen any such evidence that they would do that. But I think given the circumstance, they were close enough to the savagery of the Whisperers that they would have changed. The Wolves would have needed to adapt. It just made sense. It just did. And I don't think there's any Wolves versus Whisperers. I think this is Wolves join the Whisperers. And then the Whisperers become a bigger threat because you have the tactical, I guess, the traps and stuff. Maybe the Whisperers take on some of the Wolves' concepts and set traps and booby traps and stuff for people so they can skin more human faces for their Whisperer costumes. And I don't know, there's all sorts of crazy, crazy things that those two groups could do together if they teamed up. I mean, we never thought of that. I mean, in the last episode, it was the Saviors versus the Whisperers because they're two very different groups in how they run. But the Wolves and the Whisperers, they act very much the same. So there wouldn't be a reason for them to fight. If they did fight, the Whisperers would clearly win. They have the numbers, they have the walkers, they have the blending, they have the brains. They would win. But I think they would team up before they would fight. Okay? So that's just my breakdown. I went into the Wolves a lot because it's a group I haven't talked about in a long, long time. I mean, they've been dead since season 6. So like 2-3 years now, over 3 years. And they just felt irrelevant in the scheme of things. You know, we didn't learn anything about their philosophy, what they wanted to do. There was rumors that like they thought that man's evolution was the walkers, like the W, like they're trying to like pass them to the afterlife or something. Some of this is based around the conversation that Owen has with Morgan when he first meets them in the season 5 finale. But there's never any follow-up or expansion on that. You never learn what the group is and what they do. And it's the same thing in the comics. It's just a bunch of guys who just want to scavenge supplies and just steal shit. And they're even less successful in the comics. But I think the show expanded upon them a bit more, and I appreciate that. But I think more should have been done because with a vlog like this, it's very difficult for me to compare because they are so, because I don't have much information on the Wolves. I'm just getting to know the Whisperers, but I feel like I will know the Whisperers inside and out by the time season 9 ends, even going into season 10. So, okay, guys, thank you guys for watching. This is, I guess, episode 2 of the What If series. I have some other ideas. I'm going to do one of my own ideas for episode 3, but if you guys have anything you'd like for episode 4 and beyond, leave a comment and let me know. Let me know if you agree with my assessment. Do you think the Wolves would join the Whisperers? Would they fight them? Do you think their philosophies are similar? Were there some differences that they might have had that would have clashed? Let me know what you think. Because Alpha's all about, we're animals, we have to act like animals, and the wolves are literally named after an animal. Their group is named after a wolf. And if they have that whole, when we die, we turn into wolves, that they were the first men, and tricky shit there. Again, we don't have the wolves' backstory, so how are we supposed to truly know, How are we supposed to know? So, alright guys, thank you. As always, comment, rate, subscribe, and tell me what you would like for the next vlog. Thanks. Peace out.